Kathy Hochul has served as a lieutenant governor under Andrew Cuomo for many years now. She was the handpicked top lieutenant under Cuomo. She was a one-term Congress member in Buffalo and upstate New York with the conservative immigrant policy background that was questionable. But since then, she walked back on those policies and has become much more progressive. And I'm rooting for her success. I want her to succeed on day one, but I don't subscribe to the traditional Democratic Party model, just opening everything up and going back to normal and calling for unity. I want her to succeed, but I also want her to be accountable on day one. What are some tangible things you will do to root out corruption and abuse in Albany? Like, I want to see them instead of you coming out and face the nation and saying, "Oh, I'm going to collaborate. I am going to be transparent." What does transparency look like? Will you guarantee that we have access to, you will comply with all of our FOIA requests immediately and not stall them? Will you have commissioners come in and openly swear under oath to testify with all the questions? Will you turn over all the data that we're asking for in real time and not stonewall us? These are the commitments that we want to see in Kathy Hochul moving forward.
And you actually have a press release that you released. Yeah. So I'm just going to share that. It's your statement on demanding true transparency from next governor. And you write, the past weekend, Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul appeared on Face the Nation and spoke about transparency and collaboration when asked what the public could expect from her administration. If she is true to her word, her administration must not allow any commissioner or government employees implicated in his deplorable behavior, including those responsible for covering up nursing home data or altering COVID-19 death statistics. In order to ensure a real transparency, we ask that the Lieutenant Governor commit to the following: handing over all nursing home data from the Department of Health and individual nursing home facilities, in addition to all communications between Dr. Zucker's Department of Health and the McKinsey Global Consulting Group. So can you tell us about that before we go on to the other demands?
Yeah, so the Department of Health issued a report, a nursing home report back in July, but McKinsey was the consulting group that handled the report. Now, we still don't know the truth of what went down. There were about 9 high-level commissioners, top bureaucrats that left the Department of Health as a result of this back and forth. But basically, the scientists and the health experts wanted to issue a certain type of report that reflected the truth. And between the governor and McKinsey, they were able to come up with a different report that portrayed a different picture of what was going on. So we want to know, what was that communication? What was the directive? What was McKinsey's role in coming up with this new report that did not reflect the truth?
Maybe Leslie, especially because everyone talks about how soothing your voice is. Do you mind reading the number 2, the second demand?
Second demand, a full pledge that her executive office will comply with FOIA requests from the legislature, the public, and members of the press without stalling.
Full transparent compliance with by her state commissioners and executive leadership at future oversight hearings with answering questions under oath. And we have a small window to assure the public that we are clearing out the corrupt vestiges of the former administration and holding all accountable for their actions. Let's use it. Okay, so any response so far?
No, she addressed some of my initial questions in real time on national TV at Face the Nation. But beyond that, I have not been in communication with the next governor. But I remain open. I look forward to sitting down with her in the near future.
On Kivit state contracts, can you talk about what that is?
Oh, so Kivit is a private PR firm that the governor has hired privately to handle the dirty work behind researching and going after the victims who came out, particularly one who came out early who used to work for him. But in the process of doing that work, they've also secured millions and millions of dollars, up to $88 million contract with the state of New York, and doing the PR work for the Department of Health, doing the nursing home crisis, and the state university, which the governor's right-hand person is running currently. There's a lot of corrupt behavior in there, and I'm asking the comptroller to do a full audit, an explanation of how they were chosen to be the firm handling such a giant contract. Who was in the bid? What did the RFP process look like? And if there's any kind of wrongdoing, we should go back and claw back this contract and terminate them ASAP.
And what else are you working on?
I'm the chair of the Committee on Aging, overseeing the elderly and older adults. So we have a slew of legislation to really fight the ageist culture that we've been conditioned to accept. For many decades, we have the subcultures that police the racism and sexism in our communities, but we've done a horrible job at confronting the ageism that has permeated in our society. And it actually intersects with sexism and racism as well. We're talking about the type of language we use. We're talking about the sidewalks. Walking around New York City, how everything is geared toward the youth and everything in between, but not the vulnerable populations. And unless we confront that, we are allowing people to look the other way when such tragedies happen. Like, in my opinion, an eldercide occurred in places like New York State, where 16,000 seniors died in the period of 1 year. And everyone can kind of walk away from that because there's this normalization that at a certain age, if you're in a nursing home, it's almost like it's your duty to die for our society. And that's not good. That's not good enough. We need to change that narrative.